And a good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Week 9 of the high school football season. We are here at Centennial High School to preview the Stars' big game coming up on Friday against Northland. I'm Dave Purpura, along with Jarrod, Ulrey, and our guest to begin the show is Stars head coach Donte Goosby. Coach, it's been a lot of fun around here at Centennial this year. What is 7-1 and 4-0 in the City League North Division? What stands out to you about this season so far? 7 wins in a row since that close loss to open the season over Grandview Heights.
I'd say the thing that stands out most is the way we've been able to win. Even in the loss at Grandview, we faced some adversity in that game, but our guys stuck together. And, we knew, once we rallied through a situation like that, we knew we were going to have a special year this season. And, we've been able to stay together as a team, play for each other, fight for each other. That's what, to me, that's the remarkable thing that stands out to me is, the fact that we've done it as a unit, we've done it as a group, a small group. We're only about 23, 24 strong out here. But, those guys, they go out and fight for each other every day in practice and then, week by week in the field Friday night.
Your school's been open since 1976. I mean, we know about some of the struggles that Centennial's had in the past. You're a former player here. What's this transformation or this journey been like for you as a former player and now as a coach to watch this program continue to mature and turn into what it's turned into this year?
Well, it's been exciting to say the least. It's been a process. We are really junior heavy in this particular team. When these guys came in as freshmen, there's about 7 or 8 of those guys who lettered as freshmen, played significant minutes. And, we were able to go 4-6 with that team. And, we knew that this was going to be a good group if we could keep them together. There's a lot of attrition in the sport of football, whether it be kids moving in and out or, whether it's kids just not interested for the long haul. But we knew if these kids stuck together, we were going to, have some success down the line. Last year, I thought we peaked a year early. We finished 7-3, which led to a lot of excitement about this season. So, it's been a process, and I've definitely been pleased with the way, we progressed over the last 3 years or so.
With the way that you've won these games, I guess, what would you say is the calling card? Whether offensively or defensively, what do you think?
We've been lucky enough to have, played well, played sound on both sides of the football. But I do think the strong suit of this team this year has been our defense. We've not given up a lot of explosive plays, which basically comes from, we're not making a lot of mistakes on the football field. When teams score on us, they've earned it. Not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of sloppy play on offense. But I think if I had to say anything was the calling card of this team, I think it's been our defensive execution. In the game, any game basis.
Centennial 7-1 at Northland 4-4, but both teams are 4-0. So this is for first place in the league. What's some of your thoughts about this matchup Friday?
I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. Just looking at both teams, I believe our defense is our strong suit. I believe their defense is their strong suit. They're very big up front, and then they got a bunch that make it very difficult for offenses to execute. So I'm anticipating, a defensive struggle, 21-14, 14-7, somewhere along those lines. Our biggest thing is we have to protect the football and eliminate, the explosive play. They have, if not the best, one of the scariest players in this area, in Khalil. And, we have to make sure we are sound in what we do to prevent him from, exploiting our mistakes and turning those into big plays.
All right, well, we will let you get back to work. Coach, thank you very much for stopping over with us.
Thanks a lot.
That's Coach Donte Goosby of the Centennial Stars coming up on Friday night. They will be at Northland over there to take on the Vikings. He mentioned Khalil.
Right, Khalil Branham.
I mean, he's absolutely a pretty good player. I mean, these guys, you're going to see some of them behind us. Obviously, they don't get to 7-1 without having some strong players of their own around.
Oh, yeah, Jalen Gilbert has been back now. He's a really talented young quarterback for them. Lucien Davis, great running back for them. As far as Khalil Branham, they early in the year, I think Northland was kind of having some trouble getting him the ball. Now, what they've done here at least the last couple of weeks, they've decided to put him in more of like a wildcat formations, and he's gotten the ball a lot more here, and he was able to score 4 touchdowns the other night in their most recent win. And I think that's that's pretty much what you got to do when you're in there kind of a situation. I mean, Khalil is not really a quarterback. When he goes to Kentucky next year, he's going to be a wide receiver. But yeah, you got to get the ball in his hands, and that's really start the play in his hands. That's a great way to do it.
And you mentioned that win 26-13 over East on Friday night, so 26 points. So you mentioned the 4 touchdowns. Guess who accounted?
Yeah.
For those 4. That's Northland's closest game of the year. Their other wins have been lopsided, and their losses were lopsided. These guys, their only game they've played closer than 34 points was a 48-15 win over Chillicothe, and that's outside, of course, that loss to Greenview Heights was the 33-point win over Chillicothe in Week 4.
That game 1, I mean, that's just tough when you're a team like Centennial. They had a couple of things go wrong. Their quarterback gets hurt. They had a player early in the game get ejected. There was a little bit of controversy about that. In a team like Centennial, I mean, you've got to have you just got to have a lot of things go right. I mean, it's just tough when something like that happens. But they're in great position. I mean, they could win out, and they may need a little bit of help. Right now, they're 8th in Region 11. So they need a few things to kind of roll their way, but if they can win out, they've got a real shot at making the playoffs for the first time.
And that's a Region 11 that also includes the Hartley Hawks, a team that we talk a lot about. Hartley in first place in that region. The games we talk about today are going to be big. A lot of them are going to have a big say.
Games, really.
Yeah, and league championship for quite a few of these. One of them that we talked to is going to be a little to the north of here on Friday night. Olentangy Liberty, they're 4th ranked in the state. They're 8-0, going up against the 7-1 Olentangy Orange Pioneers. 3-0, both of these teams are in the OCC Buckeye. I feel like a broken record whenever we talk about Steve Hale's Patriots. They always find a way to win. They got a pick 6 last week. They were outgained by Olentangy. Still found a way to win because they got a big drive in the 4th quarter, got some big plays. And they're going up against an Olentangy Orange team whose only losses to Pickerington North, and they've played really well ever since then.
I think at the very beginning of the season, we probably all thought Orange was going to be one of the teams we were talking about. And then first 3-4 weeks, you're kind of like, I'm not really sure how good they are. They're pretty good.
They are.
7-1. Actually, there's some connections with these teams other than the fact that they're just Olentangy schools. I mean, Coach Zeb Schroeder used to be on Coach Hale's staff. So there's a lot of similarities in their philosophies. They both like to get the ball to a lot of different guys. They have very large rosters, very large talent pools out there.
Absolutely, and you said, I mean, there's no one guy that dominates for either of these teams. Statistically, maybe the wind's getting to me right now, but that'll make things interesting on Friday night. Nobody will know quite what to expect out of that one. Another one of the other Olentangy schools, Olentangy Berlin, is at Dublin Jerome. This game is for sole possession of first place in the OCC Cardinal. Both of these teams are 4-1 in the league. Berlin did not have their head coach last week because of a suspension. Still got a win. Jerome got back to running the football pretty well, and they had a pretty decisive win over Hilliard Bradley, I believe. Both these teams are going to want to establish the run and keep it there.
This should be an exciting game. Just thinking about, I mean, Jerome kind of got back on track, like you said. About Berlin, I mean, we know, we've probably maybe mentioned Johnny Spinner's name a few times on this show. He had the great start in their very first game last year, and he's had some other real big games for him. Their quarterback's pretty good too. I mean, Jacob Moeller, he threw 2 touchdowns over the last couple of minutes of their last game to help them get that win. So obviously Mark Norrie's really got this team. He's got this team going in the right direction.
They knew it was going to be a struggle last year. I mean, putting together a first-year program, but this is, I'm sure, more what they were hoping for.
Absolutely.
They're getting the kind of talented that they did. We do apologize, by the way, if there are sound issues. The wind will die down for a moment, and then it'll kick back up, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll do the best we can for you to hear us. Westerville South is at Westerville Central. 5-3 South got a win last week, first time in 3 weeks. Was able to end a losing streak by beating Westerville North. Westerville Central is coming off a close loss to Olentangy. This is an intriguing game. Westerville South is in that Region 8. They're trying to build up. They're in Region 7 and trying to build up some playoff points. And Westerville Central obviously still right in the thick of things in Region 3.
Yeah, this is actually a huge game for both teams. I mean, not just because it's a rivalry game, but Westerville South is 6th in Region 7, Central is 8th in Region 3. So these, this would pump up both their resumes, like you're saying. One thing that kind of jumped out to me looking at Westerville South is they lost their quarterback against Reynoldsburg a few weeks ago, and they handed the ball to Braden White as their new quarterback. And it seems like he's really starting to make the adjustment out there. He had a really big game last week.
He did. I mean, and Michael Mansoray coming back and was able to score 3 touchdowns. The thing South's got to knock off, they had some bad penalties at times, and they gave up 2 defensive touchdowns to North. But a big thing for them is they were able to wear North down in the second half, which really helped them out and helped them pull away to a win. And boy, those kinds of wins really do kind of refocus and they rejuvenate you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be big to see if Westerville South or Westerville Central can kind of get back on track to the team that we had seen for the first several weeks of the season.
All right, Grandview at Columbus Academy and Whitehall at Harvest Prep are 2 big games in the Mid-State League Ohio division. Harvest Prep undefeated in the league. Academy, Whitehall are 3-1. Grandview's 3-2 in the league. So between these 2 games, quite a bit's going to be decided in that division this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the Whitehall Harvest Prep is always going to be kind of a fascinating matchup because you've got Division 2 Whitehall, Division 7 Harvest Prep, and yet, it seems like they're probably fairly even. I'm not sure there's a real obvious favorite. I mean, Harvest Prep 7-1, and they've looked great all season.
Yeah.
Whitehall's looked really good the last 4 weeks.
And I think I wrote about it in my half of our 5 Things combo this week. I mean, Whitehall, they've got to win out, but how many points are they going to get? They're not going to get a ton of points from, even if they beat Harvest Prep. Then they have Buckeye Valley that hasn't won a game.
They're 13th in the region, so it's maybe a league title is about the best thing they can really hope for out of the season at this point.
And we'll see what happens ahead of them, but it's a lot to ask with 5 teams ahead of you with a couple of weeks to go in the year.
Those other teams, I mean, Grandview is 4th in Region 23, and Academy is 9th in Region 19.
Right on the outside looking
for
in,
both
right?
of those, yeah.
Reynoldsburg and Pickerington Central in the OCC Ohio. The Raiders beat the Tigers last year. I'm sure people in Pickerington remember that the Raiders beat the Tigers last year, and they come in. Pickerington Central obviously been playing very well with their 7-1 record. Reynoldsburg got back on track last week. They beat Grove City, coming off a really tough week for their program. But this is always a rivalry game, even though Pickerington Central has dominated this rivalry over the years. There's no shortage of motivation either side for this.
Right. I mean, especially Reynoldsburg is, I believe, they're 5th in Region 3. So they've got to they got to get at least one more win, whether it's this week against Pickerington Central or week 10 they're going to be playing Lancaster, and there's they maybe get a few points out of that. So if they're not able to get it done this week, but yes, these are teams that know each other very well. They've been playing against each other for decades now, and Pickerington Central has pretty much dominated that matchup until last year. Reynoldsburg took the league title away from them, which actually that means a lot. That means a lot to the Tigers. They talk about that a lot, even though it's a 5-team league and the leagues change all the time. But Pickerington Central took a lot of pride in their 12 years in a row winning a league title. So they really are focused on getting that back.
And they will take a big step in that direction tomorrow, Friday night, if they can get that win. In the OCC Central, Hilliard-Davidson is tied for 2nd place with Dublin-Kaufman behind Upper Arlington. Davidson gets Marysville at home this week. I saw Marysville against 2A last week. I mean, that was a slugfest, very physical both ways on defense. Marysville committed some untimely penalties, including a holding call that negated the touchdown that would have won them the game. Davidson, we all picked against them, and they made us all
look bad.
Yes, exactly. They beat Dublin-Kaufman. They got a huge win there, and this is going to be another physical contest for them. And Marysville needs to win this to stay in the Region 2 playoff.
Well, they're actually both 7th. I mean, Marysville's 7th in Region 2, Davidson 7th in Region 3. So, I mean, it really is a playoff game.
It's such a tight pack, and I think you mentioned it with Westerville Central a couple moments ago. When you look at that 7-11 pack in that region, you've got New Albany that's still figuring it. Upper Arlington is still figuring in there. So it's going to be, there's going to be some movement because they're not separated by that many points going into next week already. And obviously we'll talk a lot about Week 10 and Week 10 next week. A couple of other games we want to mention before we get out of here. A huge one to our east in Licking County. 8-0 Licking Valley is at 8-0 Granville. You look at these two, I mean, they have pretty much steamrolled the competition all season. Licking Valley hasn't really played a close game since week 2. They beat Sheridan in week 1, Thornville Sheridan, and then they beat Heath in week 2. And they haven't really been tested since, and Granville's won a lot of lopsided games since then.
Such a great mentality out in Hanover with Coach Randy Boffman. He always gets these guys ready every year. I think when I talked to him several weeks ago, like before the season, I think he said he thought the favorite in that league would be Watkins Memorial. So he was, I think he was just being a little bit modest.
Sure.
Because his team's really good.
I mean, just
and Granville has been great here since they got Coach Buttermore as their coach the last couple of years. I mean, they were pretty good before, but it seems like he's kind of taken them up another level.
Well, and that's what he did at Dresden Tri-Valley. I mean, he was a former assistant out in the Davidson system as well. Steubenville is at DeSales. Steubenville with a rare trip away from home. They've only had they've only had one road game so far this year. That was at Dover, and now they come all the way here to Columbus to play DeSales. They only had one road game in the regular season last year, kind of par for the course, but going to be a big test for DeSales.
Their schedule is very strange. They've played, I don't even think they've only played 3 teams from Ohio.
Yeah, they play
season.
a ton.
It's very strange.
And granted, they are out on the Ohio River, so
Yeah.
they play a lot of Pennsylvania and West Virginia, but they play teams from beyond those states as well. So interesting, and we'll see what happens with DeSales. They're right there in the middle of that Region 8, where Canal, Walnut Ridge, and DeSales are separated by less than a point, less than a half a point.
They're
maybe.
looking good, I think, even if they're not able to get the win. But,
And all 3 of those teams should be in the playoffs.
Probably.
You would think. It's just a matter at this point who's going to be at home, or if any of them are going to be at home, and who's going to be on the road. And we also want to mention Worthington Christian. They're 3-0 in their league, and they play host to Bern Union on Friday night. I know we talked some about Worthington Christian last week. They got a big win over Fisher Catholic, and they just kind of keep building on this.
Well, the reason I wanted us to make sure we mention that, they actually earned a share of their first league title last week. So, pretty exciting for that young program, only in its 6th season. And if they can beat Bern Union, they're going to win their first outright title, and they're right on the cusp of making the playoffs too. I believe they're about 6th in their region, in Region 23.
So they can keep winning and kind of hopefully secure that spot.
They're not going to get a lot of points in Week 10, so this is a very important game for them as far as maybe moving closer to locking up a playoff berth.
All right, and we will be back next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We don't know where, but we will let you know that site over the weekend. For Centennial coach Donte Goosby and for Jarrod Ulrey, I'm Dave Purpura. So long, everybody.